Hey guys, Josh here, and welcome to part 2 of the How to Make a Website series. In the first part, we learned pretty much just how to start our own page, get our text editor. We made a couple div tags and we added a bit of style, and that was really about the extent of it. So for this episode, I want to go over nesting div tags, or nesting any tags, and the difference between an ID and a class, because I think that is pretty important. So what I want to get started off with is the difference between an ID and a class. As you can see, I made 4 div tags last time, and I gave each one its own ID. And the ID starts with the hashtag in the CSS, and you just type the ID name, and that way you can communicate with whatever you want to add style to. Now, a class actually does the exact same thing. The only difference being that when you go in your style sheet, you're going to declare a class with a period, and also a div tag or an ID can only be declared once per page. So, for example, I already declared a wrap. I cannot go and name this wrap. But what I can do is I can say make a paragraph in here and give it a class of, say, paragraph, and I can copy that and put another one, and basically it'll give the style to each paragraph, to any paragraph that has the class paragraph. So, for example, let's type, this is some text, and this is some more text. We'll save that, and we preview it in the browser. So, we didn't add any style yet, of course, so we just have 2 paragraphs. But if we were to go into the style, we would go dot paragraph, and we could do, say, font size, say 20 pixels, and then see, it changes all of it. And we could also do font, I don't know, variant family, Arial, and see, it'll change all the font, or everything with the same class. So you're probably wondering, well, if a class can do everything that an ID can do and more, what's the point of using an ID? Well, there really is no, in my opinion, reason to use an ID. Well, there's no reason to not use IDs, mainly because it just makes it easier when you're declaring a div tag, or say your wrapper, because you're not going to have more than one. It just makes it more useful for when you're making paragraphs to have classes and, something that's going to be repeated on the site. Otherwise, just use an ID. But that definitely is something that's pretty important. So for the next part of this video, what I want to go over is nesting tags inside of each other. Basically, nesting tags is just putting something inside something else. So, for example, as you can see, I have my div tag right here, my wrap tag, and it closes it right here. So everything inside of it is going to be inside of this div tag, and that's why on the site it all shows up inside here. Now, as you can see, I made a header and I've ended it there. I made a content, which I ended, and a footer. If I want to put anything inside the content, I would just put it in here and put, say, div content 2. Now, it won't really make any difference if I preview that in the browser because it didn't add any CSS. But basically, whenever you do something like that, you're putting a div tag, or whatever, for example, the paragraph tag, you're putting it inside whatever you just whatever tag you just put it in. Um, so yeah, it's kind of hard to explain if you're not quite sure yet. Basically, when you make a website, you'll have different sections, and within those sections, you'll want to put more content. So what you do is you nest them inside, and whenever you're making a new div tag or a new ID or whatever, a new tag, oh, what's this? Keep that. Um, you'll make a new line, and then you'll tab it out. That way, it just makes it more easy to read whenever you're scrolling down, instead of having everything all lined up like this, because you'll never know what's inside of what if you just have it all set up like this. Yeah. See, it just makes it really hard to see. Because if I were to look at that, I would not know what's inside. And trust me, when you get more lines, it'll be really difficult to read. So that's why you want to keep them nested like this. So yeah, that's really all there is to nesting, and that's really all that I wanted to go over in this video, because I think that that's a pretty important part for when we start to get farther in and we start to make a lot more lines of code, and it gets to be pretty lengthy. So if you have any questions, as always, just leave them in the comments. I'll try to get back to you. And yeah, that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching.